Hi everyone, it's Cass. Welcome back to my channel, What Cass Read. Today I'm going to bring you a November book haul. These are all the books that I ended up hauling for this month, so let's get to it. This is probably... I really don't know. This book is probably the most surprising to me that I ended up purchasing it. But I ended up purchasing Clockwork Angel, written by Cassandra Clare, book number 1 of the Infernal Devices trilogy. I don't know if you know this about myself, but I DNF'd the entire Shadowhunters series. I made it through book number 5. I don't think I even finished book 5, but there was like no part of me that wanted to move on to book number 6. I really enjoyed the original trilogy where it started off as like 3 books. As the series progressed, it lost a lot of momentum for me. So I unhauled all of Cassandra Clare's books on my shelves. A lot of people said that they liked the Infernal Devices more than they liked the Mortal Instruments, and I'm just not sure what prompted me to do it. It wasn't very expensive. I only bought 1 book. So we'll see how this 1 book treats me, and if I end up liking it, then I can keep going. Another one, this one was definitely because of basically Brit, and Ember and the Ashes, written by Sabaa Tahir. I thought I would give a chance to a while back, but then as the books 2 and 3 came out, people weren't really impressed with the whole trilogy as a whole, so maybe I think I want to treat this as like a one and done kind of book. Plus, I really like the cover. I don't know a lot about it. I think one of the characters is a slave, so yeah, I don't know. Young adult fantasy where one of the main characters is a slave trying to break free, perhaps. Brit campaigned very hard for this book and just this book, so she caught me at a moment of weakness and I ended up buying it. So this is an Ember in the Ashes, written by Sabaa Tahir. This is A Shadow Bright and Burning, written by Jessica Cluess. This was inspired by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. This one, another young adult trilogy, the start of a young adult trilogy. Again, this was fairly inexpensive what I found it on, especially because Sam said that this was like a fairly underrated series, so I was like, okay, let me try it. And it's fairly short, so why not? This follows like a young woman who is a female sorcerer in a world of predominantly male sorcerers, and she might be the first female, or she is the first female sorcerer. So it just sounded pretty interesting. Again, I was caught in a moment of weakness. The young adult books have really been knocking it out of the park for me lately, so I just took these young adult recommendations to heart, so we'll give it a try. Now, this might be a familiar book for you on my channel. This is Illuminae, book number 1 of the Illumina Files, written by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. This is a repurchase for me. I ended up purchasing it again in the paperback. I unhauled the entire Illuminae Files trilogy. Was it this year? Maybe last year, maybe at the end of last year. But I had read all the way through Obsidio, and Illuminae, Gemina, and Obsidio, Gemina and Obsidio being my least 2 favorite. I felt the whole trilogy kind of went down as a whole, but this book itself is still meant a lot to me. I really wanted it back on my shelves. Oh, do you want me to get Luna? Okay. Okay, hold on one sec. Okay, I'll go get them. Alright, bye, Mom. Okay, we have to pause this video because my mom's calling. She wants to video chat with the dog. So, that was my mom. Took a little bit of an hour break, so I don't even remember where I was when I left off, what thoughts I was at. When I was unhauling Illuminae and the whole trilogy to begin with, I was even like I was getting a little bit sad because I know how much I love this book. This individually was a 5-star read for me, even though the whole series didn't end up being that great. So that's why I have Illuminae back in my life. So then the very next book that I want to talk about, this is something that I completely rushed out to buy. This is Kingsbane, written by Claire Legrand. This is book number 2 of the Imperium trilogy. This is the book that follows Furyborn. I ended up picking up Furyborn. I don't know what inspired me to do it, but I was really craving some like really good young adult fiction, and Furyborn was the answer to that. And so I immediately, like within the first couple chapters of Furyborn, I knew I was going to want to read Kingsbane, and so I just jumped right on it and got Kingsbane so that way I could follow along with the series and continue on with this trilogy. So I'm very happy to have this. This book came out this year. This follows Riel and Eliana. They are 2 prophesied queens, the Sun Queen and the Blood Queen, and their storylines take place like 1,000 years apart from one another. so it's very interesting to flip back and forth between their two storylines to see how the story all comes together. So this is the second book for that trilogy. Very happy to have this one. Now, one of my most anticipated new releases for the end of this year, I made a whole video on like my end of the year upcoming like anticipated releases. And this one was, I think, out of that whole video, the only book that I did end up purchasing like within a couple days of its release date. I'm talking about The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. This is the third and final book in the Folk of the Air trilogy. I finished it this morning. I've already read it. I loved it. So that's up on Goodreads already. So when I purchased this book, I went into Barnes & Noble thinking I was only going to get Queen of Nothing. Well, that didn't quite happen because it turns out they were selling the entire trilogy in the special Barnes & Noble editions. So I did it. I'm a monster. I got The Cruel Prince and I got The Wicked King. So I have the whole trilogy in the Barnes & Noble editions, and they are just stunning. I'm so happy to have all of them in these like really cool covers. Like, do I need to have this trilogy in another set of covers? No. But I was like, I'm gonna get Queen of Nothing in the Barnes & Noble edition because I want that special excerpt. And now I don't want the series to mismatch. I don't want my covers to mismatch. It's super high maintenance, I've said it before. So I ended up buying the whole trilogy. But that's not all I did. I am a monster. And I did end up getting Queen of Nothing in the regular cover. Don't they look so good though? How could I not have both covers? It's so high maintenance. I am trash. I'm absolute trash for this series. And it's one of those things that it's like, I couldn't even tell you why I love it so much. Is it completely original story? No. Is it the best written story that I've ever read? No. But it's one of those stories that like grabbed me from the beginning. I cared about the characters. I cared about what happened. Whatever. I love it. I just can't apologize. And now I have all of them. What do you think of this book haul? It was quite a different book haul for me in the fact that I got interrupted and had to restart filming an hour later, so I don't even know what I talked about. But let me know what you think of these books in the comment section below. Okay, you can follow me on my social media if you want. I'm on Twitter and Instagram. It's at whatcassread, the same as this channel, so it should be super easy for you to find. And of course, my Goodreads link is always listed down below for you, as well as the Goodreads link for my book club. Other than that, you know how these videos end. Talk to you later. Bye.
Running down to the riptide, taken away to the dark side.